prime suspect in the disappearance of Natalee Holloway, now facing extradition to the U.S., possibly within days. Joran Sloot is serving 28 years in prison for murdering a different woman in Peru. The latest now from ABC's Jay O'Brien in Washington. Jay, good morning.
Janae, good morning. That nearly two-decade-old case into Natalee Holloway's disappearance isn't closed, and Joran Sloot won't face an American jury on murder charges. But still this morning, Holloway's family saying he will face justice. This morning, U.S. officials awaiting what sources tell ABC News is the likely imminent extradition of Joran Sloot, the prime suspect in the 18-year-old unsolved disappearance of American teenager Natalee Holloway. Sloot currently serving a 28-year prison sentence in Peru for a different crime, the 2010 murder of a college student. But in the last few hours, signs of prisoner transfer to the U.S. may finally be underway. Authorities say Sloot left a maximum security prison in southern Peru yesterday, flying to the capital, Lima, under guard. His lawyer telling ABC News he was severely beaten in the Peruvian prison where he was being held, but that the incident is unrelated to Sloot's extradition. He's now expected to be handed over to Peruvian intelligence agents, then delivered to U.S. officials, and ultimately brought to Alabama, where the Dutch national faces more than a decade-old federal extortion and wire fraud charges tied to Holloway's disappearance. Prosecutors allege Sloot promised Holloway's parents he'd divulge the location of her body and give them details about the manner of her death, allegedly asking to be paid $250,000 with $25,000 up front. He's then accused of giving information that was worthless. Vanishing in Aruba during a graduation trip, 18-year-old Natalee Holloway's body has never been found. She was officially declared dead by a judge in 2012. Sloot was one of the last people to see her alive. Speaking to ABC News in 2006, he denied killing her.
Yeah, the last time I saw her, she was sitting on the sand by the ocean.
In a statement when Sloot's extradition was announced last month, Holloway's mother, Beth, called this a long and painful journey, but that the, quote, persistence of many is going to pay off. Together, she said, we are finally getting justice for Natalee. Janae.
All right, Jay, thank you. And we're going to talk more about this now. Joining us is legal contributor Con Nowadaye, a former assistant U.S. attorney. Thank you so much for being with us. What happens when Sloot is extradited and arrives in the U.S.?
What happens is what happens in a regular federal criminal prosecution. He's presented before a federal judge in Alabama where he's arraigned on the charges against him. In all likelihood, he will put in a not guilty plea, and then the case proceeds like any other federal criminal trial. There's an opportunity for the defense to make motions. The prosecution will provide evidence to the defendant, and it will go to trial unless, of course, he pleads guilty.
And Jay was just explaining some of the charges against him. You say that this is pretty much an open and shut case?
Yes, that's my view of the evidence that we know about. The evidence is significant and straightforward. The charges are basically that he demanded money, and that he took it and he lied about it. And the evidence is they've got emails of him corresponding with the family attorney. They have a recording of him speaking with the family attorney and meeting with the family attorney. So they have a lot of evidence. They even have a contract between Sloot and the family to give this money to him.
Basically a sting operation to set all of this up. If he is convicted here in the U.S., what kind of sentence could he face?
Well, these charges can lead to up to 40 years in prison, 20 years on each count. But with these types of charges, typically it's going to be probably much less than that.
Okay, and now this part I found really, really interesting. Sloot's lawyer has said that his client wants to be tried because the Peruvian prison that he's been in is one of the worst prisons in the world, and any U.S. prison would be like a five-star hotel in comparison. We know Jay's report just said he was beaten recently in a Peruvian prison. How likely is it that he would stay here in the U.S. if he was convicted?
I think it's very unlikely because the way the extradition treaty works between the United States and Peru is that Sloot is only here on a temporary basis. He's only going to be here through the trial and through appeal. And after that, he's going to have to go back and finish his sentence in Peru.
In one of those tough prisons, as his lawyer put it. Exactly. All right, Con Nowadaye, thank you so much for being with us this morning to break this all down.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.